Continuing us off, down about 5%.
KYTX.
TVGN.
Drug.
You know just how time-consuming it can be searching for royalty-free media, and when you do find some, they're all
Drug. INVO. Drug. INVO.
Wave. Wave. CLM.
AILE.
Wave.
S&P futures continuing
HNST.
higher, hitting a high of 59.1050,
Drug.
trading up 0.84%.
TVGN. Drug.
Drug.
INVO.
HNST. PXLW.
TVGN. BYPT.
Coney. EYPT. DRVLW. KYTX. Coney.
XPON.
PXLW,
drug,
EYPT, DRVN,
TVGN, drug,
PXLW, PXLW,
XPON, XPON, XPON,
BBAI, BBAI,
EVA,
BBAI, KYTX, KYTX, KYTX,
drug, EVA, INVO,
HNST,
EYPT, drug, 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 drug,
HNST,
verb, XPON, CNF,
Wave, Wave, INDV,
verb,
INDV, CLM, INDV, PXLW, Wave, INDV, HNST, HNST,
Verb.
KYTX, Wave.
Verb.
EYPT. 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 BBAI.
TVGN.
GPMT. CLM.
XPON. XPON. CMTL. XPON. EVA. INVO.
KYTX. KYTX.
TVGN. Drug.
PXLW.
Drug. Drug. Drug.
GPMT. Drug.
Drug.
CRF.
TVGN.
PLRX. Drug.
Drug.
KYTX.
INVO.
INDB.
Drug.
KYTX.
OCUL. Drug. 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 Drug.
EYPT. MGTX.
Drug.
MGTX.
Drug.
PLRX.
Drug. MGTX.
PLRX.
Drug.
Drug. Drug. Drug.
In the past
Drug.
at college, I've struggled with overusing the same words again and again in my essays. I do a lot of writing, and tools
Drug.
like Grammarly are essential. Grammarly.
Drug. Drug. AILE. SSSS.
KYTX.
Verb. BDTX. DXYZ. Drug. Drug.
PXLW. PTON.
This ship is heaven. Doctor, it's your job to keep everybody alive.
LXRX.
Clear.
PXLW. IPW. CRF.
IPW.
IPW. VCV.
CBNK. Big spread. TVGN. Even. XPON.
IPW.
XPON. XPON.
IPW.
XPON. XPON.
IPW. IPW. BTCS. GVP. IPW. IPW.
PACB.
IPW. IPW.
IPW. Drug. IPW. Drug.
Ticker TLN, Talon Energy, and Google.
SMR.
Alphabet's Google says signs deal to buy nuclear power from small modular reactors to be developed by Kairos Power. Alphabet and Kairos say
SMR.
deal is for 500 megawatts of power from SMRS. Agreement intends to bring Kairos Power first SMR online by 2030 with more developments through 2035.
GVP.
OKLO.
BTCS.
TVGN. TVGN.
PTON.
Drug. SMR.
GVP. PTON.
TVGN.
IPW.
Cookie Run Tower of Adventures is officially available on both mobile and PC with Google Play Games. Immerse yourself in a 3D cookie adventure on a larger PC screen with a mouse and keyboard or controller. Download and play with Google Play Games
TVGN.
today.
MGTX.
Drug. TVGN.
Fed's Waller says Fed
That
should
happens a lot,
proceed
but
with more caution on rate cuts than was needed at September meeting. Says my baseline calls for reducing policy rate gradually over the next year. Says policy rate is currently restrictive. If economy proceeds as expected, can move policy to a neutral stance at deliberate pace. If, in a less likely case, inflation falls below 2% or labor market deteriorates, Fed can front-load rate cuts.
GBP.
Drug.
Waller says if inflation unexpectedly rises, Fed could pause rate cuts. Latest inflation data
TVGN.
is disappointing. Economy on solid footing, may not be slowing down as much as desired. Expect GDP to grow faster in the second half of 2024. Waller says household resources for future consumption are in good shape. Sees pent-up demand for big ticket items.
OKLO.
Consumers are eager to make purchases as rates come down.
OKLO.
Says the labor market is quite healthy.
BYPT
Labor supply
West.
and demand have come into
OKLO.
balance.
GBP.
Hurricane and Boeing strike may reduce October payroll
OKLO.
growth by 100,000. Looking ahead, expect payroll gains to moderate and unemployment rate to drift higher but stay historically low. Says
West.
watching inflation data to see how persistent
INVO.
recent uptick is. Progress on inflation has been a roller coaster. Comments from Fed Waller.
IRN.
Saba.
OCUL. OCUL.
Shares of Oklo, ticker OKLO, Oscar Kilo Lima
TVGN.
Oscar, are spiking on the earlier headline.
OCUL.
INVO. INVO. Drug.
LTBR. OKLO. OKLO.
OKLO.
IT. OKLO.
OKLO.
OKLO. OKLO. OKLO.
OKLO.
GPMT. GPMT. OKLO. OKLO.
OKLO.
OKLO. OKLO.
RANI.
OKLO. OKLO.
OKLO. RANI. RANI.
Coney. ATAC. GBP. Coney.
RANI.
IRN. West. West. GVP.
GVP.
LTRX, LTRX. LTBR.
LTRX. SMR.
MGTX.
SMR. VERB. INVO.
LTBR.
TVGN. MULN.
IRN. QURE, IRN, GBP, CLSK.
RANI.
IRN. IRN.
INVO.
CLSK. CLSK. CLSK.
INVO.
OCUL. OCUL.
INVO. INVO.
GPMT, HNST,
BOF.
OKLO,
INVO.
OKLO, 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 OKLO,
INVO.
OKLO, 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 ATAC, OKLO, IRNSK, OKLO,
INVO. BOF.
IRN, IRN,
As a
SMR,
full-time student and content creator, I spend a
ILSK,
lot of my time
SMR,
writing. Grammarly
SMR,
features have really helped me
SMR
become more
plus,
confident in my
SMR.
writing.
SMR plus. QURE.
TVGN.
SN. UMAC, DRBN,
VERB. TVGN. Verb.
Seen a report from the
Verb.
information. A prominent Microsoft
Verb.
AI researcher set to
UMAC.
join OpenAI.
Verb.
Sebastian Hubeck is leaving Microsoft to join
TVGN.
OpenAI.
Drug. Drug.
PTON.
XPON.
ATAC.
MREO.
ATAC.
MREO.
ATAC.
Verb.
SN.
MREO. Verb.
ATAC.
Drug.
IRN. IRN.
MREO. MULN. Drug.
ATAC. EYPT. MRKR. PXLW.
INVO.
SN. LTRX. PTON.
MULN. INVO.
TLA.
MULN.
TLA.
Shares of Miko ticker
MGTX.
CCJ, Charlie Julia, at the
INVO.
highs of 52.16.
At Fiverr,
After that
we
earlier
offer 3D rendering
Google
services.
nuclear
But
headline.
you
DSY.
probably already
Big spread.
NTLA. Aller.
MULN.
PTON. NTLA. SN. NTLA.
INVO.
HNST. CGNT.
INVO.
CDMO.
INVO.
HNST. LNSR. IRN.
TV,
MMRKR. MRKR.
MRKR,
IRN. LTRX. KYTX. IRN. IRN.
XPON,
PXLW. PXLW. MGTX. CLSK. CLSK. CLSK.
SNOA, AILE,
PXLW. CGNT. IRT. MGTX. KYTX.
TVGN,
CLSK. PXLW.
Drug,
IRT. LTRX.
TVGN,
MGTX.
Drug,
Eller. KYTX.
TVGN,
GPMT.
INVO, PTWO,
LTRX. LTRX. INDV. INDV. Coney.
Cookie Run Tower of Adventures is officially available on both mobile and PC with Google Play Games. Experience more ways to play and sync your in-game.
Coney. Coney.
TVGN,
MRKR. AMS. LTRX. KYTX.
Ronnie,
Ronnie. Ronnie. BTCS. Ronnie.
Ronnie,
Ronnie.
Ronnie, 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 TVGN,
Ronnie.
Ronnie, Ronnie,
CGMT. BCLI, IRN.
TVGN,
MGTX.
AGBA, XPON, Unlink,
DRBN. AMLI.
AGMH, Ronnie,
OCUL.
Drug,
There's a smarter way to shop online.
QH,
And I hate to tell you this, but I've been overpaying for years. Don't click checkout until you've given this 10-second trick a try. Watch this. I can show you how to get the lowest available.
TVGN, TVGN, XPON,
BWX. BW. Aller. Ronnie. Ronnie.
Ronnie,
Ronnie.
Ronnie,
Ronnie. Ronnie.
Ronnie,
CLSK. CLSK. BW. Ronnie. EHGO.
Ronnie,
MGTX.
verb, 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 TVGN, verb, drug, drug, verb, verb,
LNSR. SPHR.
SPHR. Watch the spread. SPHR. Big spread.
Traders, welcome to another mighty video. Today in this
INBO.
trading recap, I'm going to show you what I think is my wildest day trading session in my entire day trading career. What you're seeing in the title and thumbnail, no, it is not a lie, it is not clickbait. I lost $8,000 in the blink of an eye. I lost $8,000 in the first 15 minutes of the market open in one stock alone. Ticker symbol VERB, V-E-R-V. I was looking to close my biggest single red trade, but also my biggest single red day. But I was able to stay composed. I was able to continue to trade after that. And I pulled
TVGN.
an immense red to green. In this video, I'm going to be covering those huge losses that I took. I'm going to be showing you how much money I was able to make at the end of the day. But most importantly, we're going to take a deep dive into the metrics. What are some of the big setups that lost me money today? But what also are some of the big plays that allow me to do the red to green, right? And go from red of the day to now closing green of the day. It was a disastrous
MRKR. Big spread.
day at the beginning. A complete roller coaster, and definitely many learning lessons that I can pull from this trading session. The first one, before I forget, is that I have to come better prepared into the morning. I was camping for the entire weekend, and yesterday I arrived very late in my house. I had maybe 4-5 hours of sleep. I woke up 20 minutes before the market opened. I was half asleep trying to day trade. And then on top of that, I had forgotten that I had a restriction in Charles Schwab. Friday, I had day traded a non-manageable stock. So the market was opening. I hadn't done my watches, hadn't done my routine. I was half asleep. With one monitor, I was in the Charles Schwab website. With another monitor, I was fighting with customer service with some of the service representatives on chat. In the main monitor, I was attempting to day trade VERB as it was a continuation stock today. It was just a mess. 10 minutes of that go by, in the blink of an eye. When I regained consciousness, I looked down at my P&L and I'm down $8,000. It was a disaster. So let's quickly talk about that loss here. Wait, hold on. I might buy this dip here. 1320. Not the greatest of fills there.
CLSK. CLSK.
Are we failing
CLSK.
hard?
CONL.
Loss there. Well, not as small as I thought.
OKLO.
Well, this thing is failing. Clearly failing. But I'm looking to see if you want to retest 13.
Coney.
Let's see.
TVGN.
There's 1313, 1307, 1303.
KYTX. Coney.
Taking a stab right there, just above 13.
Coney.
There's some big bidders right there, selling some orders on the ask. Can we get that fill?
RANI.
Coney.
CONL.
Selling for
HNST.
profit there.
When. Coney.
But anyways, what is the PNL on the day? I'm up
TVGN.
$495. More than my daily goal. I would consider my daily goal to be $2,000. But most importantly, what is completely shocking to me today is that I had a $13,000 swing. From lows of $8,000 to now sitting up $4,000.
SMR.
Is insane.
Pixie.
But even though it is a green day, today was not a very good day in terms of my mental account. Today was not a very good day in terms of me respecting the career of trading. Today wasn't a very good day in terms of me showing up in time, following my routine, following my process, sticking to my strategies, following my rules. There was a disaster. It could have easily been a humongous red day. So I'm not really going to sing victory after this trading session, but instead I'm going to be grateful that somehow I'm green, okay? But I'm still going to learn the lessons I should have learned from a $8,000 red day. First, let's take a look at the trader view here, just so that you guys don't think like I'm full of crap. Here's the proof, right?
So this book called 6 Figures from Scratch is designed to keep open while you trade. So
IPW.
This is the swing I had today. From lows, trader view always, for some reason, it makes my red days look smaller, like my red swings look smaller than what they actually are. I went down over $8,000.
Fed's Waller says right now a lot of recent high productivity growth is just a rebound from low readings earlier.
Tracking your metrics on a daily basis.
Says unsustainable fiscal policy is the biggest threat to R star.
$600 according to TraderView, over $8,000 according to my brain. And we'll double checking the live trading archives. But anyways,
ATAC.
as you can see right here, it just took one humongous loss. I think I took one loss of $7,000 in 1 second.
Pixie.
And it was a failed dip and rip. But on top of that, the setup, it wasn't what failed. My acuteness and capacity of being fast when it comes to taking those high risk entries and being quick to manage my risk, that's what screwed me over.
TVGN.
Rather than the dip and rip itself. Of course, the dip and rip failed.
INVO.
But my slowness was what really made me pay this price. So anyways, I start by collapsing $7,000 loss. This is my biggest single red trade
TVGN
in my entire career. And then I took another $1,000 loss that pushed me down to $8,000. From there, I started to dig myself up, still with the same ticker, taking almost every overextended dip that I could see. I was completely emotionally hijacked at this point. So the shares that I was taking was maybe pushing it just because I needed to compensate from the red trades. I don't like that at all. And I don't like every time I'm breaking the rules and making decisions.
ICAD.
S&P futures continuing higher, hitting a high of 59.1350, trading up 0.9%. Seeing some heavy volume.
SUZ. RYLD.
INVO. TVGN. INVO. INVO.
California State Health Department says California reports 5 possible
OKLO.
human cases of bird flu. That's in addition to the 6 previously confirmed.
INVO.
BIOA.
INVO.
OKLO.
INVO. INVO.
HNST. OCUL.
INVO. EVA.
Just decision based off of emotion. One thing I must say though is that I
OCUL.
still, at the very least, kept on trading good setups, kept on trading good patterns.
INVO.
So,
SUZ.
all right, so go from down $8,000 to up 4,000. Well, I imported the metric just before this last trade that I took here with you guys. But anyways, insane day. Let's take a look at the detailed note. Let's take a look at the statistics. We're gonna go to reports. Gonna go to detailed. And
AMLI.
the reason why I was able to pull the red to green today was this: 63% accuracy. So even though I started deep in the red, the reality was that that was just one huge red trade, right? So even though it's unfortunate, the fact is that I was very accurately reading the stock. I had made $2,000 last Friday on VERB, so I knew how it
DRVN.
moved. I knew that when it wanted to bounce, it bounced strongly. I knew that it was in love of doing the bear trap setup. I knew it was volatile. I knew it was whippy. So I knew that I had to wait for the overextension flushes. I had to wait for the reversals. I have to wait for the big false breakouts and then get in trying to capitalize off of the relief bounces. So I knew how to read the stock, which is why I was able to trade at a 63% accuracy. The problem is that I was too early on one of the early setups. And I was half asleep trading it and lost $7,000 on it. But regardless, after that, I was able to stay composed and lock in. So now let's take a look at my largest gain. I think this is my biggest winning trade ever. This is not my biggest losing trade ever. My biggest losing trade.
SUZ.
INVO.
When.
TVGN. TVGN.
CTKB.
INVO. INVO.
Fed's Waller says, if we continue to see reduction in labor demand, we'll start seeing more unemployment. We are in the sweet spot now, and we have to keep it there. Gradually on rate cuts is in the eye of the beholder. Waller says, would be problematic to move policy rate in response to the election.
AMX. AMX.
TVGN.
AMLI. AMX. ATAC. Mir.
INVO. INVO.
HYPR.
TVGN.
QMCO. AMX. NTLA. 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 Beam. Mir.
Drug. Drug. RANI.
AMX. NTLA. 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 NTLA.
INVO.
NTLA.
Drug.
NTLA. NTLA.
Drug.
Beam.
Drug.
I've lost $6,000 on a single trade.
Drug.
Let's take a look at both of these. Okay?
GBP. NTLA.
So here it is. We were halted up, we resume, and I get caught on this flush down into the halt down.
INVO.
I get caught in this flush into the halt down, right?
NTLA.
Was trading
SUZ.
what it looks like
NTLA.
4,400 shares. We were halted up, we resume, and I get caught
TVGN.
on this flush down
CTKB.
into the halt down. I get caught in this flush into the halt down, right?
INVO.
Was trading what it looks like 4,400 shares in and out, and I lost $4,000, almost a point on a dollar
INVO.
per share. Then, if I were to go to my trades here and sort by biggest loser on the day, biggest losers on the day, you'll see that my second biggest loss is like another $3,000 loss that happened from
NTLA.
like up here to down here. Because it
GBP.
resumed, I instantly bought on this dip thinking that we were going to rip, but it dipped lower, so I lost. Maybe I even bought up here. Actually, I might have bought up here. Let's do that for a second. So I'm going to go trade here.
INVO.
P&L here.
ATAC. Gain.
Show me the damn trade. Look at that. So I bought up here thinking that I had fumbled a dip, but that we were going to break through new highs anyways.
CTKB.
So I chased it at 16 and oh bro, holy crap, that's brutal. And stopped out at the very bottom right there.
Drug.
And the difference between me buying up here versus here, mind you, all this is happening. The difference between you being profitable or not happens within milliseconds, which is why we like to say that trading and being profitable is such a fine line. You might have a good idea of what you think is going to happen. You might be able to predict the stock in a slightly larger time frame. But what really matters is you being able to execute and having the ability to buy the second you have to buy and sell the second you have to sell. That's what's the hardest part. Because if you buy a second too early, if you sell a second too late, that can be the difference between you buying here and selling here versus you buying here and selling here. That's just a few seconds of difference. Me buying this dip, selling for the bounce, buying 15, selling 16. Right? That could be a huge $1
TVGN.
Push that slightly to the left, to the right, and that becomes you buying at 16 and selling at 14. And
RANI.
of course, I can't predict anything, and sometimes good setups are going to fail. But something that is in my control that I can do better on is coming in the trading session ready, firing up all cylinders, you know, awake, maybe with some food in my belly, maybe with the entire cup of coffee in me. I have no idea. I don't even know how, right? But following the proper routine. And I think I could have done better. Maybe I still would have lost, but maybe not 7,000,
TVGN.
right? And then on top of that, I shouldn't really be fumbling with customer service in the market open. That's something that's really pissing me off.
INVO.
But anyway, so that was the
INVO.
biggest loser. Now let's take a look at the biggest winner here. I shared a screenshot with everybody here, but it was me accumulating on this 1 minute flag. It's a bit of a wedge. But most importantly, it was a higher low after failing for what it looked like another attempt to highs. So short sellers usually like to carefully short the second attempt at highs, because if they short as it's going straight up, they don't know how high it's gonna go. But on the second swing low, it is a better idea. It is a better idea to short, because now you can use this pivot as your stop loss. So I knew that short sellers were piling in here. So I accumulated. This was a big trade. I accumulated a little bit over 7,000 shares.
TVGN.
Down here, and I sold them against the spike. Made like $5,000 in one trade, which was nuts. Of course, for anybody out there that is an MMU member,
10 minutes to the U.S. markets close.
To the entire live trading archive of this trading session. You're going to see some huge losses.
S&P futures off the highs
here. So if you really want to
hitting a high of 59.1850,
the second that I bought,
about
to be part of the
0.93% right
MMU
now.
community.
If you own rental properties, you need property management software that allows you to manage your rent.
So if you're interested and you want to join, check the first link down below in the description. But anyway, so that was the day, right? Completely insanity. But now let's go back into the charts and let's talk a little bit about VERB. VERB, as I told you, was in play last Friday. And why did I trade it last Friday? Well, because of my hold
Drug.
I use Momo Pro scanners. These are scanners that I use to find my stocks to trade each morning. This is the stocks that this is the scanner that I use to find which are the leading gainers, which are the stocks with breaking news, moving up quickly that day. And most importantly, this is also the scanner that I use to see hold levels, to identify which are the stocks that I hold it up or down the most on the day. LU is held up. For example, if you're trading TVGN, and this is something that is huge, because if you're trading a free commission broker like Charles Schwab, you probably know that they don't allow, well, it's not that they don't allow, they don't show where are the whole level up or whole level down bands. So then you are kind of trading blind, because you don't know at what point in the chart the stock is going to keep, get frozen, and at what point in the chart are you going to be attempting TVGN setup. But if you are part of a medic and if you have these scanners, all of a sudden you have access to those bands. But most importantly, you also have access to find halted stocks.
INVO.
If you want to join Momo Pro, the scanners that I use, I actually have a 25% coupon in my description as well. And on top of that, if you use my coupon, they're going to give you a 7-day money-back guarantee, which means you can have the platform for free for 7 days. And if you don't like it, well, you cancel. And if you like it, well, you stick around. It's very cheap. It's like $15, $20.
TVGN. Drug.
Definitely the cheapest scanners out there.
Gain.
But anyways, On Friday, this thing was halted up.
WT.
On Friday, I had a nice green day. I finished up $9,000, so I had some capital to risk. I was very risky, and I had money. I had a cushion, so I knew I can afford a few extra trades. Because this had no breaking news, had no reason to be up. It wasn't even part of the gainers. But because I had a nice cushion on the day, I allowed myself to trade it. It was halted up. Huge gap. It dips and rips, and it starts to perform some of the best setups that we like to trade. High day breakout right here with a strong green engulfing candle. We have a VWAP bear trap right here. As you can see, we are flushed through VWAP, and then instantly we got reclaimed. We have a bit of a cup and handle right here. The ABCD pattern, cup and handle. Just consolidating underneath higher day and then ripping through it with another
Drug.
OCUL. Dan. As.
ATYR.
NTLA. WT. KYTX.
Drug. TVGN.
HNST. NTLA. MULN.
AGL.
BTDR. GMAB. SGD.
AGL.
EYPT. WDH. OCUL. EYPT. Sage. OCUL. WDH.
Drug.
AMPS. OCUL.
TVGN.
UPB. WT. When. WT. OCUL. RYLD. WT. MULN. WDH. SGD. As. BTDR.
Drug.
As. TGI. HNST. As. UPB. WT. When.
INVO.
ATAC. MULN. Sage.
TVGN. MULN.
SNGN. TW. ATAC. Sage. TGI. TGI. SGD. BW.
INVO.
SGD. Sage. SMST. SGD.
INVO. MULN.
MULN. TGI.
Drug.
SMST.
EVA.
ATAC. BW. BWA.
Drug.
SGD. Drug. CLM.
Drug.
ENGN. CGNT. Drug. SGD. SAGE.
Drug.
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 SGD. SAGE. BDN. UAA. AMPS. AMPS. CRF. UPB.
One minute till the U.S. markets close.
BTCT. MTEN. TGI. WT.
AKYA.
SAGE. JWN.
INVO. LYEL.
MRVI.
INVO.
CRF. UAA. UAA. SMST.
Drug.
SMST. TGI. Hoth. SAGE.
Drug.
Hoth. TGI. TGI. UAA. Drug. Drug.
Drug.
Drug. Drug. Drug. Drug.
U.S. markets are now closed.
Drug. 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 EHGO. SAGE. MGTX. EBF. Pixie. UPB. RLJ.
Drug.
LSC.
Drug.
NGX. ANNX.
Drug.
OEMAR.
CONL. Drug.
Drug. Northeast. BTBT. Northeast.
Drug.
Drug. Drug.
Drug.
UPST. PHUN. Goose. TWG. UPST.
CONL.
LBPH. SMRQ. BFLY. VSTM. GDMAL. SKLZ. BFLY.
RANI.
CAE. UPST.
INVO.
SNUS.
TVGN.
INVO. RGC. LTH.
Drug.
FNGR. ADCT. LMND.
Drug.
CRBP.
INVO.
JRML.
Drug.
HUD. SGD.
Bit Digital, ticker
OKLO.
BTBT, Bravo Tango Bravo
OKLO.
Tango, acquires Novum
IRTC.
Data Centers for $46 million,
INTG.
vertically integrating HPC operations with 280
MINS,
plus
LNKB,
megawatt expansion
ELF.
pipeline in major cities.
Drug.
Ticker BTBT,
Drug.
Tango Bravo
CYL.
Tango.
Drug.
NYFS. MKSY.
RANI.
HNST. PHUN.
VERB.
CRVS. PHUN. TRMD. DRCT. DRCT. DRCT.
Bellpoint
DRCT.
Prep, ticker OZ,
CONL.
Oscar Zulu, reports no
VMAR.
significant damage to Sarasota and St.
OPFI.
Petersburg properties from Hurricane Milton. Company says continuing further assessments. Hoth Therapeutics, ticker HOTH, has received notice
PHUN.
of
Verb.
allowance for its U.S. patent application titled use of
CONL.
CDLX.
premarket for treating Alzheimer's disease.
INVO.
Ticker HOTH.
TCS.
Shares
MTEN.
are getting a pop on that, up 4.76%
INVO.
after hours.
INVO.
GPCR.
Verb.
DJT.
AGL. Big
DJT.
spread. SOXL.
QUBT. WW. ARR.
INVO. TVGN.
ARR. MYND.
AGL.
AEHR.
INVO.
DJT. Cake. VGA. JSPR. DEC. HTCR.
Drug.
GRI. U.
GDX. CONL.
WW. LTBR. RDDT.
GDX.
RDDT. MPC. WVE. ICT. AEHR. QRVO. IPW.
Drug. TVGN.
PHX.
PHX.
PHX. Cake. Pixie.
Drug.
PHX.
Drug. TQQQ. BTBT.
MDAI.
BTBT.
MDAI.
PHX
MDAI.
Minerals, ticker PHX, Papa Hotel X-Ray. Whitehawk Energy reiterates $4 per share
MDAI.
proposal to
MDAI.
acquire PHX Minerals,
RGC.
representing a
MDAI.
19%
NN.
premium to the 90-day average price.
KYTX.
Says criticizes PHX for stock
KYTX.
underperformance and urges board to engage. Shares of PHX are getting a pop after hours, trading up 7.5%.
AHT.
Papa Hotel X-Ray.
MDAI. 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 MDAI.
MDAI. MDAI.
MDAI. MDAI.
MDAI. UAL. MDAI.
MDAI.
SMR.
BTCT.
PHX. BITU. INVO.
VOXX. SELX.
Sciences,
RVYL.
ticker SGHT, Sandy Gulf Hotel
BTBT.
Tango, reporting results from study on
UA.
tear care treatment for
MAOV.
dry eye disease, showing significant
MDAI.
improvements in reading speed, vision-related quality of life, and dry eye symptoms. It's ticker SGHT.
IREN. TVGN.
Deck.
TVGN.
Else. NAOV.
Drug.
Blink charging, ticker BLNK,
Drug.
Bravo, Lima, November, Kilo. Blink charging steps in to support former NLX and JSPR customers with cost-effective EV charging solutions, offering free upgrades and
MDAI.
equipment coverage through a revenue share program. Ticker BLNK.
Drug.
PSQH.
PSQH. Drug.
NNDM.
Drug. 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 Drug.
Griffin Digital Mining, ticker GRYP, Golf Romeo Yankee Papa, providing an September operational update, says held about 9.6 Bitcoin in its treasury as of the end of September.
FGI.
It's ticker GRYP.
Drug. BTBT. Drug. Drug. IWM. MDAI. VERB. Drug. Drug. BTBT. Drug. Drug. MDAI. MDAI. Drug. DXYZ. Big spread. EVA. XPON. INVO. SPY. Drug. QH. Drug. 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 TSLA. Mu. INVO. MULN. Drug. 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 VU. SOXL.
The Joint Corporation,
SGD.
ticker
Big spread.
JYNT, Julia Yankee November Tango, appoints a new president and chief executive officer, ticker JYNT.
Drug.
Candle. It was just a very volatile stock. It was lighter on volume, so it definitely was relying on limit orders, buying the bid, selling the ask, because I didn't want to pay the premium of you using market orders and getting fills all over the place with the big spreads. Anyways, it's all off and I left it alone. This morning though was gapping, and it was not only gapping, it was going straight up. So I'm sure that some pre-market traders made some decent money on this ticker going up. I would assume that the best pre-market could have been the break of this pivot 1087, but this thing just kept on going. From 1087 went to 11, then to 12, then 13, 14, 15. At the open, he gave us an opening surge. I actually made $1,000 in this move, but then I lost it all on this swing down. Here's where I took my biggest loss, as I showed you earlier. And from there, I hunkered down. I kept on trading the patterns that I knew how to trade. And to be honest, I'm grateful that I was able to come out unscathed. This could have been very bad. This could have been very bad. And this is just a reminder to you, the viewer, that day trading is very risky.
ALC.
And the typical experience for most beginner traders is that they do lose $8,000, and then that's the end of their career forever. You know, the fact that I'm able to come from down $8,000 to up $4,000 doesn't mean that you can do that too. I've been trading for half a decade, and I have
ALC
over 10,000 hours of experience here in health.
ALC.
We all know to contact
ALC.
Indiana 811 before digging.
ALC.
You should also know spring.
But my results are not typical by any stretch of the imagination. Typical results is that you show up, you lose $8,000,
ALC,
and then you're out of the game forever. If you're lucky, if not, you show up every day and you lose every day. So day trading is very hard, and today I had a very close call that I'm not going to take for granted. Tomorrow I'm going to be back to basics, rehab in full force. I cannot allow a huge loss like that to happen ever again, right? What?
ALC,
circling back to the learning lessons of this day that could have been a catastrophic red day, the importance of respecting trading. This is my career. This is my business. I can't show up half asleep. I cannot not follow my morning routine before the trading session. I cannot not do my technical analysis. I can't miss creating my watch list.
TVGN.
I can't miss maybe even taking a look at the pre-market price action so that I'm better tuned with the price action for the open. I have to be firing up all cylinders. I have to be awake. I have to be ready to go at all times. Right? Because you can't afford not being in your A game, especially when trading is such a fine line.
ALC.
Got this. This thing is just reclaimed VWAP. He just reclaimed VWAP right here. And if he wants to flush into it,
DJT.
I might want to take a trade on it. Small size, definitely reduce my size at this point because, you know, I had a big enough swing, so I had to start predicting my profits. Taking a starter there. If we dip lower, I think I might add. There's 1353, 51. Adding once
ALC.
more. Uh-oh, I don't like those sellers. Hold on. Taking half out just in case we want to drop lower. If we drop lower, I'm going to add again.
TVGN.
There's 59. And let's sell it at 64. Oh, this is not going as planned, is it? There's 64. There's a seller at 64. Now back to 60, 64. Definitely some hidden sellers here, but The question is it going to come lower before it bounces, or is it going to bounce right here?
TVGN.
First candle high, let's see, over 64.
TVGN. TVGN.
I don't like how quiet it gets. When it gets quiet like that, that's when you see the teleportations. All right, it's coming lower. I think you might want to retest 1350 before going.
ALC.
But how steep is that flush going to be under 1350? That's the question. All right, there's 1351.
ALC.
1330, that's not good. That's way too much. I don't even know if I want to add to this thing. If I don't want to add, I just want to get out of this. Can I get the fills? Send an order 1349. There's a QCOM on the bid, but
watch the spread.
There's no actual
NVDL.
shares. How about you just fill me?
ALC. Drug.
Taking that exit there for a loss. Lost $400 or $500 there.
Drug.
So
ALC.
That's not good. Oh, you bastard. There's the reclaim of 59, but still. That drop is way too steep. If I'm going for a VWAP bounce, I can't be back holding down there.
ALC.
Anyways, that sucks.
Drug.
That sucks
ALC.
indeed. Oh, it's coming.
Drug. 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 XPON. WDC. Watch the spread. RANI. RANI. TSLA. Point. Point. XPON. TSLA. ALC. NVDA. ALC. Drug. 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 RANI. Drug. RANI. Drug. ALC. 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 Drug. Drug. VERB. ALC. RANI. 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 RANI.
Cody, ticker COTY, Charlie Oscar Tango Yankee, reporting preliminary Q1 sales growth of 4 to 5%. Reiterates full year 2025 adjusted EBITDA outlook for 9 to 11% year-over-year growth and plans for stronger EBITDA margin expansion despite U.S. market and retailer caution. That's ticker COTY, Charlie Oscar Tango Yankee. Shares are falling after hours, down about 2.4%, following those preliminary numbers.
INVO. MSFT. ONCT.
PTC Therapeutics, ticker PTCT, Papa Tango, Charlie Tango, announces FDA target action date of July 29th, 2025 for SEPI.
Are you still stuffing your kangaroo hoodie pockets?
NDA and
meet the new improved bearskin tactical hoodie.
But with stocks raring to go,
study.
So is the floor show. And our star traders, John Cortina from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange and Kenny Polcari. John, normally this federal holiday would be a snoozer for the markets. I mean, I'm sure volume might be thin, but the bulls are wide awake. What's got them running?
Hey, Liz. Yeah, so that's exactly it. We've got a quiet market today with not a lot of participation, not a lot of volume. That's going to add to a big influx and volatility in our markets. This could have gone either way today. Overall sentiment has been, as we've seen, the market trending higher and higher. But on a day like today, this move is certainly magnified than one that would be in a normal session. But backing up, sentiment is here in this market. We continue to trade higher. I think investors are feeling comfortable, not fully putting more money into this market, but allowing their portfolios to continue to grow and not being forced to do anything. You add in the fact that we're still in this uncertain area with the Fed and what they're going to do next, uncertainty in U.S. Presidential election. So pretty much everything is on cruise control right now. You're kind of forced into doing nothing. But as we see these markets move higher and higher, I think we're going to get a little bit more volatility as we get towards this election, as we get past that and we get towards the end of the year, because there's a lot of unknown that's out there. And then just add the geopolitical risks, the headlines that we saw over the weekend, China, Taiwan. These things are still out there. They can and will have an impact on our market. It's not resonating just yet.
Kenny, doesn't that make the case for domestic stocks, U.S. equities? I mean, you've got Christopher Waller.
DJT.
He is, of course, the Federal Reserve Governor and a voting member. He's just making headlines right now saying the economy is on solid footing, at least here in the United States, x all the drama that John just articulated globally. Expect GDP to grow faster in the second half of 2024. So do you just stay home with American stocks?
Listen, I think you stay home for the bulk of it, right? There's always a case to be made to reaching out, investing, having some international exposure across Europe, right? Having some international exposure in the emerging markets. I keep it very small, 2 or 3% of the total portfolio in emerging markets. But in Europe, there's always a reason to be there as long as you're sticking with the big names. But to your point, there's nothing wrong here at home. The economy is going along fine. The labor market is not imploding. It's going to be interesting, though, when bond yields hit 4.16, which is a long-term trendline resistance. What happens if we push up and through there? Today we don't know because the bond market's closed. But let's see what happens in the next couple of days. Where's that level going to be that's going to cause investors to just take a breather and say, okay, bond yields have moved up. Let me get a little bit more cautious.
Yeah, the 10-year, while not trading right now, had closed at 4.096. So just to give people a sense of exactly what you're talking about. John, when we look at earnings, I mean, bank earnings on Friday, they really lit the fuse. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo came out with banger numbers. I believe Wells Fargo is even adding on to the big gains it saw on Friday. We've got a lot more big financial names that are going to be reporting starting tomorrow and the rest of this week. Tomorrow, we've got Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Citi, PNC. It's very crowded. Schwab's in there. So do you look at the financials, which today aren't exactly going gangbusters, but do you look at those and say, boy, if JP Morgan and Wells Fargo had such good numbers, the rest of them are going to look pretty as well?
Yeah, I think they are a good indicator of what's going on and what's out there in the financial sector. In this new interest rate environment that we're in, the financial industry has been able to manage that very well. What I think we need to look forward to in the financial sector is M&A activity, which is a huge moneymaker for these investment banks, has been very quiet. We go back 2-3 years about all these smaller incubus companies that are waiting to come public and waiting for the right time. From a market's perspective, it's probably the right time, the way the market has been performing. In an overall kind of global perspective, not the right time, right? We don't know what's going to happen with the U.S. election. We have these other headwinds that we've spoken about that's there. So I think in the beginning of 2025, we're going to start seeing M&A activity pick up, and that's certainly going to help the financial sector.
Okay, so we don't know on any given day what's going to happen, whether it's with the markets or our own lives. But Kenny, what are you picking up right now? I mean, today is not the day to be buying because we are looking at all-time records. But what what are you really eager to dip in and scoop up some things once they come down a little bit?
So you're going to look at names that are in the sectors that have been underperforming this year. So, consumer discretionary is only up 9%. It's well below where the market is. I'm certainly not chasing tech. I continue to like, even though utilities are up about 25% in the year, I continue to like utilities because of the story. Rates going down, utility stocks are always a good buy, but then the demand for electricity and energy is only going to skyrocket, as as AI takes more and more control. So utilities is a great place. I'd be looking at, like I said, I'd be looking at healthcare. I'd be looking at basic materials. I'd be looking at consumer discretionary.
Not energy. I mean, again, we're looking at oil right now. I got to point this out. Oil is down 2.25%, West Texas Intermediate. And of course, OPEC is cutting the global oil demand forecast for the third consecutive month. Guys, great to have you. So much action on this holiday here.
If you're not making $158,000 per year, but you'd like to, I strongly encourage you to start a bookkeeping business.
INVO. 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 INVO.
When I was a kid, I caddied, I delivered newspapers, I did a bunch of jobs when I was a kid. At age 12, I bought my first stock. I was caddying. The stock market was hot at the time. People I caddied for were talking about it. First stock I bought was a stock by the name of Northeast Airlines. The only criteria I had was that it was selling for less than $5 a share. I figured I could buy more shares, and if it went up, I'd go with more money. That was dumb. But the company was about to go bankrupt. Another company acquired it. It tripled in value, and I was hooked on the markets. So I was hooked on the markets at the beginning of 12, and that's my game. Now, fast forward. At 22, 10 years later, so 1971, I was following the markets, and between graduating from college and going to graduate school, I was clerking on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. And in that intervening period, there was a lot of aspirations, a lot of desire to go to the moon, to eliminate poverty, to make equality in the United States, and so on. So in that early era, when there was Kennedy, and that made me an optimism, but during that 10 years, the fact is that there was a lot of borrowing of money, a lot of deficits. Back then, gold was money. And money, as we know it, was like checks in the checkbook that would go get you the gold. You can turn in your paper money for gold, but gold was the real money. And because the United States had borrowed a lot more money than it had, it wrote a lot more checks than it had gold in the bank. And so on August 15th, 1971, when I was clerking on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, I watched on television as President Nixon defaulted on the obligation to pay gold for the cash. He went on and he said, you won't get the gold. Of course, he didn't say it that way. He said it in a way where it sounded like there were speculators and so on, and he had to do it. And so on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, I thought the market was going to go down a lot, because after all, this is a big crisis and the money as we know it ends. And I couldn't have been more wrong. It went up a lot. And what happened was, I never went through a currency devaluation before, because in my lifetime, there was no currency devaluation. So that's the first time it happened. So I went back and I looked at history, and I found the exact same thing happened on March 5th, 1933, except rather than the television and Nixon, it was the radio and Roosevelt, and he made the exact same announcement and had the exact same effect. And at that time, I learned two big things. I learned that first, many things that never happened in my lifetime.
Nate Jones lines things up, checks his Fidelity app, looks to outside analysts.
Seemed surprising at the time, and that I needed to study things that happened before my lifetime to understand them. So when certain things are happening, like right now, there are certain things that have never happened in our lifetime before, but happened many times in history. So in order to understand them, I need to understand the patterns, and even more than the patterns, the cause and effect relationships behind the patterns. So that mistake taught me that I needed to understand history. And each of the mistakes has taught me. I made a big mistake in 1982, and I calculated that American banks had lent more to foreign countries than those countries paid back. There was a big debt crisis. I anticipated this debt crisis, Mexico defaulting. Great, okay. But what happened is the economy, and I expected there would be a terrible economic situation. And you know what happened? The Federal Reserve printed a lot of money, and it had the same effect. You know, you learn the lessons, okay? Those lessons that I learned let me study the 1929 to 32 period, which allowed me to anticipate the 2008 financial crisis and make a lot of money there when most people lost money. And right now, what's happening now has led Bridgewater to make a lot of money while the markets are behaving badly now, because the same thing happened in the past. So studying history, learning the lessons, writing them down, modeling them. There's a template of what is happening. There's a story. What's an order? An order is the system that's operating. How do you operate? So for example, there is a domestic order. We have constitution and democracy, and that's a system that operates, and that continues on until there's a war, and then there's another system that comes and replaces it. Our system has lasted for a long time. There's also a world order. In other words, a world system. And that world system of operating comes after a war. Why does a war happen? Because conflicting parties of about equal power have a fight, and the dominant power wins, and then they get to set the rules. And the last time that happened was in 1945 because of the end of World War II. So at the end of World War II, the United States had 80% of the world's money. Gold was money then. It had half the world's economy. It had a dominant military power. And for that reason, because it was the dominant power, New York is where the United Nations is. Washington, D.C. is where the IMF and World Bank, they put it there because it was the American world order. The dollar was the world's reserve currency, and that always happens. Before that, at the end of World War I, there was the Treaty of Versailles. And the winners of the Treaty of Versailles determined how the system was going to work after that. And if you go back in history, repeatedly, there is always a world order. There is always happens this way, and it continues. Okay, so how does it work? You end up with that world order, and then you come through a period of peace and prosperity because nobody wants to fight the dominant world power. So that there's peace. And then in that period of time, wars are sort of great equalizers. They reduce wealth differences, wealth gaps, and so on. And then there's a rebuilding process, and that produces prosperity and peace. Also, nobody wants to go back into the war. Everybody remembers how horrible they are. Before that, you know, these cycles typically can take 100 years. Let's say they could take a lifetime, and then people forget because they weren't the same people. They forget how terrible wars are. After wars, people remember how terrible wars are, and they want peace. All of those reasons produces peace and prosperity, and there's also a financial reorganization. But then that peace and prosperity leads naturally to the country that has that having the world's reserve currency. A reserve currency means it's the currency that's accepted. So naturally, the dollar is the world's reserve currency. Before that, it was the British pound during the British Empire. Before that, it was the Dutch guilder. It's the same pattern. And so there's peace and prosperity with the world's reserve currency. Now, when you have the world's reserve currency, the rest of the world wants to save, and they save in that currency. And that leads the country who has the world's reserve currency to borrow. It gives them what's called the exorbitant privilege of being able to borrow and print the world's currency. Boy, that's a good thing to have. And then what they do, of course, is as prosperity continues and asset prices go up, like stocks go up and everything does really well, it encourages more borrowing and spending and betting on prosperity. And that begins to have rise in levels of indebtedness. So you see debt levels rise. And the third thing it does is it creates greater wealth and values gaps. They become greater naturally. The wealth that's built up is distributed unevenly, and those who make a lot of money then begin to have a larger wealth gap, and that creates also an opportunity gap. If we're lucky enough to have the money, we can educate our children well, and so on. That gives them an unfair advantage in relationship to others. And so this wealth gap increases at the same time as levels of indebtedness increase. And then, of course, what happens is the competition increases. The competition increases because when you win and you have the other Germany or Japan or other countries destroyed after the war and there are no other competitors, then it's a dominant position. But over with time, others learn and begin to build up, like China particularly has increased its per capita income and its competitiveness. So China is a competitor with the United States, but all through that time, it was like the British were competitors with the Dutch and so on. So we see that pattern happen over and over as that power gap narrows. Then conflicts about how things should go increase. And internally, there is a conflict over wealth and wealth gaps. And then there's a higher level of indebtedness, which makes for a worse set of circumstances. And that combination of circumstances leads to more conflict and more problems. So traditionally, you see a lot of levels of debt. The classic way that you see this is, what does a government do when it doesn't have enough money? It's not like they go into the coffers. The coffers are empty. They have no gold. They have not that money. So where do they get the money?
If you have a child 12 or older and you like for them to get into the best university possible,
they have to take the money from somebody else. That's either through taxes or people get angry when they're taking it away and there's a big fight over it. So what they usually do is they print money. And through the Roman times, back in Roman times, they had gold coins. They put less gold in the coins. They put other metals in the coins. And inevitably, they print money when they want to spend more. And that, of course, produces the inflation. It devalues the value of money. And you lose buying power. And when that happens, at the same time, there's a large wealth gap and opportunity gap. That produces a lot of internal conflict of the sort that we're seeing now. You always see populists of the left and populists of the right. What's a populist? A populist is a person who will fight for their side. They are not compromisers, okay? So you get to the point where there may not be compromise. For example, January 6th is right out of the populist playbook. In other words, fighting for power. It's entirely possible that we will see that neither side in the upcoming elections would accept losing. And there's a conflict. So you have that populace and that greater extreme of the left and the right. You have more internal conflict. And then as you have the rising power challenging the existing power, you have the world conflict. And then normally that produces a resolution, which happens through wars, because there's no world court that you bring your case to, and then there's a jury who makes a decision. It's typically through conflict. You have the next war, and you do the same thing over and over again. So that, by and large, is the pattern. I need objectivity to be accurate, but also by being able to measure those things, you can see whether you're improving or not. So it's a type of biofeedback. It starts with education. Educated people are more valuable. And there's two types of education. There's education of like what you know and what skills you develop, but there's also learning civility, learning how to behave with each other to make a productive society. Think about parenting. Think about the importance. Really, what I had was just going back to the basics. What I had was parents who loved me and were good guidance. I went to a public education, and it was a good public school. And I came out to a world of equal opportunity in which there was an opportunity to make decisions and make things happen and then live the American dream. And really, those are the most important fundamentals. And you have a system that provides you good and equal opportunity. I mean, that's basically it. Capitalism, it gives you the opportunity. People who say, that's a good idea, give you money to build it out. It's important to do that broadly for the population because you don't know where the talent's going to come from. If you look at anybody who's been successful over a period of time, you know, the Forbes 400 or something, and you look at those, many of those people came from the simplest, you never would have guessed where they would come from. And so having a broad-based population not only produces a higher level of productivity, which raises income and raises power, it also means that the individuals themselves have a fairer society and they believe that the society is fairer. So these are fundamentals. And when you start to see that, then it's reflected in other things. It's reflected in inventions. How many innovations, technology innovations, what share of world trade the country has, a number of the statistics. You could see that when the United States was dominant or the British that were dominant, they have a high percentage of world trade. And as a result of that, they have the world's reserve currency. So you see it reflected in the currency statistics. In other words, whose transaction. They have the world's financial center. In the Dutch Empire, it was Amsterdam. In the British Empire, it was London. In the American Empire, it was New York as the world's financial center. And so you see it reflected in all of those measures of power. You're traveling around the world, you have the trade routes, you're operating in your currency, you need a military. The United States, for example, has bases in 70 countries now. 70 countries. So you have to be a military power as a result. And all of these powers support each other. As you gain one, you get them also. You have to be a total power. The Soviet Union was never a total power. China is a total power. Soviet Union was never a total power because it was never an economic power. Okay, it had a military that was comparable in nuclear weapons, but it lost because it was never an economic power. So we have that kind of a situation. China now is a comparable economic power. So when we look at these measures, the United States in some ways is a little bit ahead in some and a little bit behind, but there's comparability. The three are creations of a lot of debt and the printing of money by the central bank to pay for it. A lot. Okay, that's number one. You can't spend more than you earn. Just a basic law of economics. You can't keep spending more than you earn, because then what do you do that? You create it on debt. And debt has to be paid back, and one man's assets are another man's liability. So if you've got debt, somebody's holding that expecting a real return. And when you don't give them a real return, like we're not giving them the real return now, then they sell the debt and interest rates go up, and then the central bank is in a bind because they have to print more money or they have to curtail it because the day of paying back comes. The only question is whether you pay it back in hard money or deflated money. So think about it, it's like borrowing. When you borrow, it's like borrowing stuff. We think of it, it's a certain number of dollars that you borrow, but think of it, you're borrowing stuff. And when you borrow and spend, then you can spend more than you earn because you borrow. That makes the difference. So you spend more than you earn. And that means in some point in the future, to pay back, you have to spend less than you earn. And that means quite a change in your spending. So debt is not bad if it gets you the resources to produce more than the cost of that debt. So think of it as this way. If you borrow to have a party, you borrow to go to vacation, you borrow for consumption, there's not going to be an income earning asset. Okay, so the day will come back and you're going to have to pay that back, and that's not good. If you borrow to invest in something that's going to produce more than it costs.
I want to give you this book for free. It contains the exact roadmap that you can.
And you're going to have that productivity. That was a good move. But you will see it because if debt rises relative to incomes, then you know you're not doing that. If incomes rise more than the debt, okay, that's a good thing. So those are fundamentals, you know, and that's how the cycle works. So the three things that we just touched on, number one. Number two is the internal conflict thing. When there's a large wealth gap and values gap, then there become the disenfranchised, those who feel you're not taking care of me. And that was very classic with the 2000 election of Donald Trump. Why did Donald Trump get elected? Because there was a population in the United States, a significant population, that said, this system isn't working for them. And I want a fighter. Okay, they don't want to compromise it. They want a fighter. And so you get populists of the right and populists of the left who are fighters and not compromisers. And that's an issue for a democracy, because a democracy is based on following the rules and compromising. But these are win at all cost people. And so that begins to build up. That's why January 6th wasn't a surprising event. It was right out of the populist playbook, because it is win at all cost. And we're in a situation where in the future, we could see neither party accepting losing, and we could see the not following rules. For example, the Supreme Court decisions. You could see that states and towns might say, we are not following that decision, come make me. In other words, you see power begin to operate. And so that kind of internal conflict is very normal at those circumstances. It's very important to understand how that works. In the 1930s, 4 democracies chose to become dictatorships because there were conflicts between the left and the right. What is fascism? You know, what is communism? That was the same right-left conflict. And then as a result, it produced enough disorder that literally the parliaments chose autocratic leaders. And what did those autocratic leaders do? They fought internally, but they got control. And then they were inclined to fight externally because these people are fighters. And so that's why there's a tendency to produce a war. So that's number 2, that internal conflict. This is all measurable. I'm describing it in words, but in the book, you can see the lines and the charts that can show you where you are.
And you were saying that even if you were asked, you would not endorse either candidate right now. Why?
Neither is what the country needs. What the country needs is the moderates coming together to be able to work together and make great reforms. It needs a strong leader of the middle and to alienate the extremes. One extreme is going to have a war with the other extreme. And what the country needs is broad-based prosperity. One of the great issues that we look at is that there are 2 different countries going on, basically. You could see it in the stock market. You could see it in the wealth. That it's a wonderful place to come up with the most brilliant ideas. The universities are the best universities in the world, and those talents create great inventions and so on. But averages are misleading. So it's a small percentage of the population. If you look at the bottom 60% of the population, the average American, 60% of Americans have less than a 6th grade reading level. We have a situation where you can see it in the cities. You walk around the cities, New York, Chicago, San Francisco, and so on. You smell marijuana. The kids are going to school high. The infrastructure is broken down. Homeless people, crime, and so on. Look
NVDA.
Do we have water? There's only one thing that's needed, really, is broad-based prosperity. Broad-based prosperity.
RANI.
The United States
PBR.
is exceptional in its universities, in its inventiveness for
Drug.
a small percentage of the population. I looked at the stocks that have done
Drug.
exceptionally well. Look at the concentration in the markets. Okay, it's a limited number of stocks in the world that have done very well. And so when we include averages, we have to keep that in mind. And if you look at the number of people, I calculated that in those companies, there's something like 1.5 million people, half of which are immigrants who've come to the country, who have done very well in those unique areas. But then you look at the majority, and you look at, for example, education, PISA scores. I think the United States is something like 39th in PISA scores. There's, in other words, education level for the broad population. Important thing to do is not confuse averages with exceptionalism. The exceptionalism has been in that domain, and it's really exceptional. But you need to have broad-based prosperity. When we talk about income and you talk about wealth, it comes from productivity. And that goes down to the individual level. That individual will not be prosperous. They will have to have handouts, transfers of wealth, and so on. And there'll be all sorts of problems if they're not productive. So internally, it's the conflict. Number 3 is externally the conflict. When you have two great powers coming in, and you can measure the types of wars. There are 5 types of wars. There is a trade war. There's a technology war. There's a geopolitical influence war. There is a capital and economic war, which is commonly called sanctions. Okay, that exists. And there's a military war. And you...
RANI. RANI. Drug. RANI. RANI. DXYZ. Drug. FBLG. SPHR. SPHR. INVO. INVO. SPHR. Drug. New. Drug. Drug. OKLO. SMR. Drug. RANI. RANI. Drug. INVO. INVO. OKLO. INVO. INVO. Drug. INVO. INVO. Drug. YPF. INVO. Drug. INVO. 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 TVGN. INVO. Drug. PBR. Drug. Drug. Mara. OKLO. RANI. YAG. BNDN. XPON. INVO. RANI. Drug. 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 PIXY. Big spread. CONL. SPY. Wolf. NVDX. OKLO. INVO. INVO. Drug. INVO. HLN. INVO. 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 QCOM. OKLO. Drug. XPON. XPON. BBAI. INVO. 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 OKLO. OKLO. Drug. OKLO. OKLO. Drug. Drug. INVO. Drug. OKLO. MULN. INVO. SCO. OKLO. IONQ. Seal. CONL. INVO. Drug. Drug. INVO. Drug. Drug. TVGN. CONL. RANI. AFRM. OKLO. SMR. CONL. RANI. AGBA. INVO. ATYR. AGBA. OKLO. OKLO. Drug. Drug. Okay, LO. INVO. INVO. INVO.